Residents are demanding answers this morning and raising concerns about their own safety and that of their families after a major train derailment along the Pennsylvania border nearly 2 weeks ago now. The train was carrying toxic chemicals when it derailed on February 3rd in the town of East Palestine, causing a massive fire. Officials then performed a controlled release of the toxic materials, and residents were allowed to return home last week. One person telling the Columbus Dispatch, the smoke and odor, quote, immediately burnt the inside of my lungs. The stench was just like standing over a pit that's on fire. Many are concerned, understandably, about air, soil, and water pollution. Wildlife officials say the resulting chemical spill has killed an estimated 3,500 fish in nearby streams, while one woman told a local reporter her 5 hens and rooster died suddenly the day after the controlled chemical release. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette quoted a woman who feared for her family's health, saying, "I don't want to take my kids back to that. None of us have the money to completely start over somewhere. We're not going to have a choice but to take our children back to that place, and it's not fair," end quote. Residents say they feel like there's been a lack of transparency and that officials are prioritizing the rail company and not the community. One local business owner told the Columbus Dispatch, quote, "We want to get back to normal. We want to get back to our homes. We just want to make it safe and have accountability moving forward." There'll be a town hall today where people are expected to reiterate those concerns. In the meantime, residents have been told to use bottled water until officials can test the local water supply. The EPA also says it tested the air inside 400 homes and found contaminants are not at levels of concern. The governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, joins us now. Governor, thanks for your time in the middle of this crisis. We appreciate it. Are you confident that it's safe for the residents of East Palestine and the communities around there to return home?
Yes, we continue to test the air. We continue to test the water, and we've done that really since the beginning. And before we told them they could go back, we had readings that indicated the air was just pretty much what it was before. It was what it was before the train wreck even occurred. As far as the water, we continue to test the water at different stages as it goes out towards the Ohio River. We've told the residents, most people are on the village system. Those are deep wells. We think that they're very safe, but until we get the test back, we've told them out of an abundance of caution, they really ought to just drink bottled water. And we got our first test back from one of the wells last night. The test was fine. We would expect today or tomorrow to get the other well tests back, and as soon as we get those back, we'll make that available to the public.
So if it were your family, Governor, you'd be okay sending everybody back home?
Yeah, look, I mean, we indicated that. We're going to continue to test the air. We're going to continue to test the water. But what that is indicating is that it is very, very safe. We're relying on the experts. The U.S. EPA has been in. The Ohio EPA has been in. Both the local health department, the state health department, they've been there from the beginning. We've been, as transparent as we can. We tell people exactly what we know. Yesterday, I did over an hour press conference. That was a third press conference I've done myself. And we've done other press conferences where we put that information out. And what I committed to people yesterday to do is, look, we're going to hold the railroad responsible. The railroad caused this. I called the CEO yesterday. I've talked to him a number of times. I said, look, there's people in Palestine who are concerned that you guys are going to leave before you get the total area cleaned up. And he assured me, he said, no, we're not going to leave. And so we're going to hold them to that. They're not going to leave until everything is right. They're in the process now of removing dirt from the scene where the rail cars went off. You got a lot of toxic material there. They've removed a number of truckloads of dirt, but that process continues today, and it will continue until it's done.
You can understand, Governor, though, when residents are hearing about reports of thousands of fish floating dead and livestock dropping dead, why they might be concerned. Is there any thought of help for those people if they do want to stay in a hotel for a couple of weeks until they feel like the coast is clear? As they said, many of them, they just don't have the resources to go find somewhere else to stay.
Railroad has said they'll pay for anyone to stay in hotels. They have been doing that, and if anyone has concerns, they can continue to do that. So, again, Railroad is responsible for all of this, and as I said, we're going to hold them to that. But those are certainly options for people. Look, I understand. If I had a family there, I understand people are concerned. What we're trying to do and have tried to do from the beginning is just to make sure that we're giving them all the information that we have. We have the best scientists that there are to really just continue to test, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Governor, in your news conference yesterday, you said you had spoken to President Biden a few days earlier, and the president offered federal assistance, said don't hesitate to call. You said yesterday that you have not done so, that you don't feel like there's a need, that you have, I'll quote you here, if we were seeing a problem or anything like that, you would call, but you said you're not seeing it. Explain the rationale there. Why not get the federal government more involved in what is a significant site?
No, that's not what I said. What I said yesterday is that I told the president that the federal government was involved. We had used the Defense Department to model. Our National Guard was working directly with the Defense Department to model when the controlled emission was going to take place, how far out that was going to do. The U.S. EPA has been on the scene from the very beginning. The transportation people are in there working to determine exactly the cause of this wreck. So, no, what I said to the president is if I need additional help, we'll tell you, but the people who have been in here from the federal government are doing a very good job.
And on that, the idea of, it's obviously in the early days of this crisis, but something like this, sometimes potential health effects are not found or located, discovered. They don't materialize for weeks, months, or years later. Is there early planning to set up some sort of process to monitor the long-term impact of this disaster on that town and the people who live there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, we're going to do everything that we can. We're going to continue to monitor the water supply. We're going to continue to monitor the air as we move forward.
All right, Governor, we appreciate your time very much this morning. I know it's difficult, and we'll be checking back in with you and keeping an eye on the good people of East Palestine. Thanks so much. Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio.